Welcome back, guys. Today we're taking a look at closed cell foam pads. These foam pads have two purposes. One is to boost the R value of your sleep system, which means they will provide you with some extra warmth. And second is to prevent your sleeping pad from getting any punctures. If you're a hardcore ultralight thru hiker, you may just want to use only one of these without an inflatable pad. Some people do that, but generally they are used in combination with an inflatable pad. I have a few here today that we'll have a look at, and we'll go through them one by one. I will tell you what the differences are and help you make the best decision. Okay, so let's start with the smallest one. This is just a sit pad, but a very, very useful piece of kit. Weighs only 50 grams, costs just a few bucks. Definitely a good thing to have on your trip, so you don't need to sit on the ground or something cold. Let's move on to the bigger ones. This one is from Decathlon, from the brand Quechua. This one is the smallest or the thinnest one of the bunch. It is less than a centimeter thick. It weighs 230 grams. Decathlon says it's 210, so there's a small difference in there. And it has an R value of 1.2. So real quick about the R values, that's just a way to measure insulation. All sleeping pads have an official rating of their R value. A 3-season inflatable sleeping pad will generally have an R value of around 3.5. If you move up to a winter sleeping pad, you're looking at somewhere between 6 and 9. So with the R value of 3.2, 3.5, you should be okay at around 0 degrees Celsius. But those are just official ratings. So the thing to keep in mind is that everyone will have a different experience. So don't rely only on those figures. So this one has an R value of 1.2 as mentioned earlier. This will only increase the warmth of your inflatable sleeping pad by a little bit. Mostly it will just provide some protection so you don't puncture your sleeping pad. And the cost is $5.99, so it's quite cheap and affordable. I personally wouldn't recommend it as to sleep on. The way that I use it is whenever I use a camping chair like the one from Halinox or the larger ones, I will use this in the winter to sit on, and this will just reflect some of the heat back, and that helps me keep warm while sitting around the campfire. So this is another one from Decathlon, this time from Forclas, which is another brand of Decathlon. This pad costs $12.99. It weighs 370 grams. It has an official R value of 2.1, which is around the same as the one from Therm-A-Rest that we'll look at next. And what I like about this one is that it feels very sturdy. Compared to the one from Therm-A-Rest, this one is really inexpensive, really affordable. So if you're looking for something to put under your sleeping pad, this would be a better option than the previous one. It doesn't have a reflective coating like the one from Therm-A-Rest, and also there's an even amount of the individual panels. So this means you can fold it like this to have something to sit on. You'll see in a bit what I mean when we look at the one from Therm-A-Rest. And because of that, also what you can do is unfold the bottom part, fold the top. With that, you have an even more stable piece to sit on, or even for carrying on your backpack, this just stays in place a little bit better. So now to the probably most popular of them all. This is the Therm-A-Rest Z-Lite. It comes in different colors. You often see them with the yellow back. There's no functional difference, only the color. It has a reflective coating, which is supposed to boost the warmth by 15%. The weight is also 370 grams. The R value is 2.0. And compared to the one we just looked at, the number of elements is uneven. So you can't really fold it evenly. Maybe if you do it like this. It's not a big deal because this is probably not how you'll use it for the most of the time, but it seems at Decathlon they even had a lucky accident, or they gave it a bit more thought. Comparing them, the panels are just a little bit bigger on the one from Decathlon. Let me show you. You can see they're just a little bit wider, and that makes them a bit more stable. And overall, this is what I mean. The one from Decathlon just stays together a bit better. Again, not a big deal. Most of the time you will not notice, only perhaps if you want to sit on it like this. The one from Decathlon will provide you with a bit more stability. And now, saving the best for last, is the beast from Therm-A-Rest. This is the Ridgerest Solar. It is 2 centimeters thick. That is the foam. This thing is huge. I believe they no longer produce this one. If you're lucky, you're still able to find them in some stores as old stock. Why should you get this? This has a R value of 3.5. 3.5 is more than my Sea to Summit sleeping pad, which has an R value of 3.2. So with this beast, you can get any summer sleeping pad, you can make that into a winter sleeping pad. It is extra thick, it is extra wide, extra comfortable, and this is something that is still being used for proper winter adventures. It is quite heavy at 740 grams compared to 370 on the other ones. And that is probably also the reason why it's not as popular anymore, because people often choose to go with the lighter one, because R value of 2.0 is enough of a boost in most situations. So this one is or was produced in regular and large, and the Z-Lite is produced in regular and small. So now, one of the more important things to know is how to use these puppies. You can put it underneath your sleeping pad, right? So you'd have your inflatable pad on top. You can combine multiple closed cell foam pads. You can have them on top of each other, and you can essentially add the R values. Something to experiment with, because I've heard some people saying that it worked better for them to actually have the closed cell foam pad on top of the inflatable sleeping pad. If you're carrying 2 of them, this is something you might want to try. Personally, I always like to keep the closed cell foam pad underneath just to protect my inflatable sleeping pad from any punctures. This winter, I will try to bring 2 of these, and I will try to combine them, one underneath, one on top, and see how that works. Oh, and by the way, this video is a part of a series. Next up, we'll be looking at winter sleeping pads. We'll also look at winter sleeping bags. So if you want to continue on that, watch this video next.